All right, guys, in this video, we are going to go through one of the most introvert-friendly networking methods out there. By the end of this, hopefully you won't even feel like it is networking. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Katie. I'm a coach at CareerSprout, where we help people land high-paying job offers at a company they really admire doing really meaningful work. So let's dive in. This is gonna be a 3-step process for anybody who is like me and you're introverted. I used to be very socially awkward, so we had to come up with like the exact messages for me to send, the exact, scripts for me to use when I talk to people. If you are like that, don't worry, this is not going to hold you back. I was able to land $300,000 plus roles. Even if you're going after, your first $150,000 role, this will be helpful for you. So step 1 is you are going to want to identify the old colleagues, acquaintances, alumni from your school who are working at companies that you really admire. So these are going to be people that you have some connection to. Maybe you haven't talked to them in years. Maybe it's been, months since you've talked to them. Once you identify those folks, again, people who are in your ideal role or along your career path or working at your dream companies, you will then send them an email to catch up, or a LinkedIn message, or a text. And the exact script, I'll read you the exact script here, is going to be super simple. Hey, it's been a while. Hey, John, whoever it is, it's been a while since we last talked, and it looks like you're up to some fun things at Nike. How are they treating you? How's life overall? It'd be great to reconnect and catch up properly. I'd love to also share, what's new with me these days. Let me know if you have some time to chat. Do any of these times work for you? Date, time, give them 3 options. And then say, if those times don't fit your schedule, please feel free to send me over your availability and I'd be happy to accommodate. Thanks in advance. Looking forward to it. Something like that. Really simple message that goes out. Then step 2, and this is where a lot of people, especially if you're a little bit more introverted, you may flounder a little bit. Or even if you're just extroverted and you're stressed out right now, I have noticed a funny phenomenon that even our extroverted friends seem to get flustered when the pressure of a job search is on. So when you're having these conversations, it's so important for you to set really clear expectations going into the call, the introduction of the call, and having a really clear call to action. So what you're going to want to do is the specific introduction and the specific call to action is going to be dependent on the specifics of the person that you're speaking with. So let's use the example that you are looking for, customer success roles at Nike, and somebody who works at Nike. So you reached out with the message that I just shared, and now you're about to have this exploratory or, the catch-up call with them. So then the way you start the call, super important. It's going to be really simple. I've even got my script over here that I'm going to be reading from. Hey, practice this so you don't have to read from it, just to clarify. You're going to say, hey, the reason I'm so excited to chat with you is because I'm about to start applying to and talking to recruiters at Nike about customer success roles. So I would love to learn a little bit more about, how your time at Nike has been, what you've really enjoyed there, what you haven't enjoyed there, how the company is run. And then any advice that you may have for me as I start this journey and I start applying and ideally start interviewing here soon. And then as they tell you what it's been like for them, they're catching you up, that's where you want to let them speak. You want to ask them questions that are actually about them and their experience so that they feel like you actually care about them. And here's the thing, you should actually care about them. And so once you're asking those probing questions, you can find out, more about the company, more about the hiring process, the role, the things that they look in at candidates. So you'll be asking questions that are like, what do they look for, both the tangible and the intangible side of candidates when they are typically hiring, either in this role or hiring in general if they're not sure about the specific roles. And then the call to action at the end of the conversation, super important that you do have some sort of call to action to move the conversation forward, is who do you think I should reach out to about this role, right? They work at your company. They are likely going to know the folks that you should be reaching out to. And then you can immediately give back to them by saying, just by asking, and do you get a referral bonus if I go through you? A lot of companies will give their employees referral bonuses if the person that they introduce to the hiring manager recruiter is the one that actually comes through. So it's an immediate way for you to give back to them as well. And so then oftentimes they'll say yes, and you can just say awesome. And this is very important. You want to control the narrative, your narrative. So you can say awesome, let me write up a quick intro and give you my resume to send over to them. Because especially if this is somebody that you knew from college and, you know, the relationship that you guys just have was beer pong, you know, buddies, they may not know why you're relevant. Like they may not be able to position you as the go-to customer success manager in this season of your life. They may not know all of the details. So make it really easy for them so they don't have to burn any brain calories to write up that message and send it out. You write it and you send it to them so that they can pass it along. So, and even some companies obviously do not give those referral bonuses. Even still, you can still use that person's name, the person, John or whoever your buddy is, when you reach out to the hiring manager or the recruiter and just say, hey, you know, Brian, I talked to John and he thought it would be a good idea for us to connect about possible, you know, CS roles that you have open. He shared blah, blah, blah about the company. And I would love to expand on this conversation to see if there might be some synergies for us to work together. And you get to use that intel from your message with your buddy or your old friend, your old colleague, whatever the case may be, to, you know, move that conversation forward. And that's really one of the simplest ways. I can't tell you how many times that, first of all, that outreach message, if you're sending that to old alumni and colleagues, things like that, that has an awesome response rate, close to 50, anywhere from 40 to 80%, depending on how close you were to the people that you're sending it to. And then that leads to, typically for our students, they will get inundated with these calls. As many as they can fit in a week in the beginning, they may be doing 10 of these calls, and oftentimes many of them will lead directly to interviews, especially if the companies that their colleagues or acquaintances have worked with, if they're hiring, it's the easiest way to get your foot in the door. Now, and this is one of the things when you look and you see, you know, the secret networking or the secret job market, this is oftentimes for jobs that aren't even listed, you can get interviews for. So it's a super, super powerful method. And as I mentioned, there are 3 steps. So the step 1 is going to be identifying these people, sending them the email. Step 1 is identifying the people. Step 2 is reaching out with the email. Step 3 is having that conversation. And really a step 4 would be sending a thank you message to your buddy or to your colleague after you've made the introduction. And then you usually have somebody on the inside who is vouching for you, giving you, you know, a vote of confidence with the hiring manager. Even better if it's a colleague or an alumni who is an executive at the company. Do not shy away from those people. Those are your best people. And it is irrelevant, especially if you're reaching out to an executive. It is completely irrelevant if you have never had a conversation with that person before. You just tweak the email that goes out to them just slightly. So if you have any questions or if there's anything that you are worried about in your job search, feel free to send us a message. You can join our free community where we do free coaching calls, have free resources for pretty much every step of the, you know, job search journey. So with that, I hope you guys are having a good one. Talk soon.